What do you want to say, Luke? Apparently, Russell wants to shit himself. But
no, he's talking about me.
Oh, you're a bit nervous, eh? The great man, the fullback of the century from Kilburn, the great man Andrew Graham. We call him the Shrek. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Now, Shreky,
you know, all the boys are listening down to Kilburn this morning.
Yeah, they've stolen the radio just to have a listen this morning.
Give us the Shrek story, mate. Tell us the juniors up until where you are now.
I grew up in the country. I'm from Hummocks Watchman, up in Lock Hill. Hummocks Watchman. Grew up in Auburn, near Clare. Played for Hummocks, then came down to Adelaide for uni. I was living at a college, had a season at Aldinga down in the Southern Football League because a few boys were from down there. And then ended up at Kilburn. The story was there was we're all living in a university college in North Adelaide.
Aquinas or?
Lincoln College it's called.
Yeah.
And there was a guy called Ian McPherson who was playing resis out at Glenelg, and Phil Martin bought him a car, a little 1980 Toyota Corona that he expected to break down after 2 weeks, but it lasted a few years and it transported a few of us guys out to Kilburn.
Oh, nice work. Now, things are going well. I mean, look, first thing I'm going to talk about, because it's been such a big story in Amateur League, is we call it Pointsgate. The day Kilburn couldn't add to 15. Give us your, I'm not sure, let me just check with Dave, how can we say what we want about this or not?
I suppose within the limits, that we don't get too carried away.
Right, I've got the dump
slagging on
Tell us,
league.
yeah, we can't actually go too hard at Amateur League, but tell us your thoughts on the whole situation.
Oh well, I don't know directly what's happened. I've just heard bits and pieces around the place, but I think I've got a good idea of what happened. There was some confusion over how many points certain players were worth. At the start of the year, the computer system, I'm told, wasn't working, so that at the start of the game you put your team sheet in and it wouldn't tell you how many points the team was worth. One of the areas of contention has been Mark McCallum.
Your leading goal kicker?
Leading goal kicker. He came from Tantanoola, but in between he played a season in the Northern Territory Football League. So he played mainly reserves up there. So there was a bit of an issue over whether it was worth 3 points or 0 points, because there was an issue whether his last season was A grade or Northern Territory Football League reserves.
Yeah.
That was one issue. Nick Pearce was another, I think.
Yeah.
Coming from Fitzroy, but before that, North Adelaide reserves.
Yep.
A bit of confusion. At the end of the day, we probably should have done our job better, and we copped our penalty, and it's probably fair enough. And that's the end of it.
I know when I spoke to Jamie about it, he said it's happened. Let's get on with it. But I tipped you guys at the start of the year, playing the grand final, and I'm sticking to that. Today's the biggest test against Seaton Ramblers, and I think you'll get over the line today as well. And I have no doubt the quality of players that are around in your side at the moment are absolutely magnificent. They're really good footballers.
Is this the best Kilburn you've seen since you've been involved with?
It's difficult to say, because I think every year each division's different. A few years ago we were strong in Div 3 when Steve O'Connell was coaching, and there was a very good Eastern Park team that year.
They knocked you off in the prelim.
That they did, because I was injured. That was the reason we lost that game.
Yeah, I heard that. I was told that. The players told me that too.
Yeah. And Flinders Park obviously won it that year, and Walkerville had a very good team that year as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the divisions are strong as that year, but we're certainly as good a team as I've ever played in at Kilburn, I think.
Yeah, and that year you had some real good forwards as well. You had
Robbie Broadhurst.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Indigenous boy that went to Eastern Park.
Adrian Wilson.
Adrian Wilson, yeah.
Son. Yeah.
And did you have Stengel as well?
He played the last half of the year.
Yeah. I mean, certainly. That was the year Mick Ashby actually. You had a good game that prelim final against you boys.
He did. Kicked 5, I think.
Yeah. No,
I've got a couple of questions for you, Shrekker. Now, I've been down the club a couple of weeks. Jamie Thomas, what's he like as a coach? Be careful, you might get dropped today.
Jamie Thomas loves him. It's crazy.
I'm on the verge of being dropped anyway, but Tomo's a great coach. Obviously, he's had some pretty good results over the years at Salisbury North, and he's really been one of the main factors in turning a bit of a culture around at Kilburn.
Next question. Who's the biggest party boy at Kilburn?
Oh, it has to be Billy Parks.
Yeah.
He's got shares in Red Square in town on Hindley Street. He's #1 VIP. He's the #1 ticket holder there.
Interesting. Is that why Nick Pearce got kicked out of there last week?
Nick Pearce and I went out last week, and we got kicked out of a few places. And I've got no. I don't think they let me in at Red Square, so I wasn't finished by then.
Nick and you must have got asked to leave.
Does Nick Pearce often lick girls' necks? Or is that just things he saves for Tasmania? Yeah, I went there.
I've heard there's a media ban on Tasmania, and I'm not going to comment.
Who stands in front of the mirror the most at Kilburn? Looking at all the guys that run out the ground, product in their hair.
Cameron Williams probably sits in front of the mirror the most, but it's not because of his hair, it's because of his abs. He's got a bloody amazing six-pack on him, and he spends a lot of time looking at it.
Matty Whelan played his 200 last week, I believe.
He did?
Yeah, played a good game, but got sent off, which was pretty pathetic. I saw it, and the sent off, two guys pushing in, so the umpire sent them both off.
Yeah.
But the guy, who I think there was a few blokes from Kilburn calling him the Royd boy, that he had the tussle with, but Matty was more than happy to carry it on if they got over the line.
That Roy boy, he's a bit of an icon for Mitcham, I think. He's a bit top heavy, he's got very big arms and skinny legs. And he's
can't run.
He can't run, he can't kick. He's been mouthing off both games.
He seems to be
he's got roid rage.
Flexed. He's flexed all the time.
You know his name?
Don't know his name, but can't kick.
You would have to say a highlight, last year's Premiership, coming from just sneaking into the 5, just getting there over the line, then going through and winning the grand final against Salisbury, were pretty well undefeated for the year. That would have to be one of the highlights of your footy career, surely.
Yeah, it was. It was a good run we had. I think we only lost 2 games in that back half of the year, and we had about 5 weeks in a row where we just snuck over the line each week. It was we beat Unley by 2 points. I think in the final round it was between us and Unley to get into the 5.
Yep.
I can't remember it because I got knocked out by Alex Brackstone that game. Then I think we played Hectorville, won by a couple of goals. Played Greenacres in the final. We were down by 7 goals at half time.
I was at that game. Yeah.
Then just beat Scotch, who were a pretty good team, by a couple of goals in the prelim, and then came from behind against Salisbury. So we were pretty lucky.
I watched that. It was at Campbelltown Oval, and I must admit, Jamie kept his composure through it all. And when the siren went, I walked out in the ground and I said, I told you 10 weeks ago, mate, you were going to win it. But there was a few guys, older boys in the clubs, the Thomases, and that had a few tears in their eyes because I think they can see the light at the end of the tunnel for Kilburn is now starting to come up. Young group of guys, you know, Chad, Kyle, McCallum, not so many old guys like yourself playing, but a few younger guys that are starting to make the future of Kilburn look really good.
Well, let's get one thing straight. I'm 27. I'm not that old yet. Chad's older than me, I think. I think Mark McCallum might be older than me too. So
it must be the beard that makes you look older there, Mark.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a few grey hairs. I'm starting to get a bit stressed out at the moment, but with work. But yeah, only 27, so not quite old yet.
Now, you being a fullback, often you probably get the best forward from the opposition, and a lot of big guys and big names. I just run through a few of the guys I'm assuming that you've stood this year. Perhaps a Kung Fan, maybe a Pinckney, Nick the Situation, Jolly. Who's been the toughest opponent so far this year?
I've only stood on one of those guys really, and that was Nick Jolly.
Careful what you say about Joel, he's one of my best mates.
He's a big boy and I don't want him to hurt me, so I won't say too much. But the thing that surprised me the most is he's very good on ground level.
Yeah.
He picked the ball up a couple of times below his knees cleanly at pace, and swung around on his right boot and kicked a goal. And I was expecting him to be very difficult to beat in the air, but it was really what he did at ground level that takes you by surprise. And he's really dangerous like that, so I thought he was difficult for that reason.
Yep. You never stood Kung Fan from TVC?
Oh, a couple of years ago, I think, but not this year.
Yeah, because he impressed me. I saw him play on the weekend. I thought he was really good. Who do you normally get for Smoshies? Because that could be someone who you might meet perhaps in a big final this year. Who do you think you'd be matched up on?
I'm not sure the bloke's name. I think his name was Maisie.
Yeah.
That's the tall guy.
Yeah,
He
tall.
played when you played
John
it
Maisie?
down at home.
Solidly built. But what Smosh did is they flipped their full back to full forward.
Yeah, they switched it, didn't they?
And
Yeah.
he's a bloody good player.
He is. I watched that game. He got the ball at full back, and he was just like a freight train.
Yeah.
I think his name's Ian Ralston, and he's he was probably actually the most difficult person to stand that I've stood this year.
He'd know all the tricks coming from full back. So.
He pinches a lot.
Then
Has
they
he?
switched him. Yeah, they switched him then. Luke switched them around, had one at full forward, and they both did all right at either end of the ground, those two, which is pretty versatile. Hey, tell me, there's something that's been bugging me for a while, and Piercy and Parksy tell me, ask you what the helicopter is. Now, I hear that something within the club down there, they say, ask a Shrek, when he goes into the helicopter, what actually is it? Because I don't know what the helicopter is.
Well, this is the second time I've been accused of doing the helicopter. There's actually a magistrate that knows a few people at Kilburn as well. And I was in court once and he asked me what the helicopter was. And I think it was on a Friday afternoon, so he must have had a long lunch.
Yeah.
But the helicopter's when you get your pants off and swing your penis around like it's a helicopter, but mine's not big enough to do that. So
Carol Martin told me different.
There was a bloke from the 90s, a lister, I can't remember his first name. It was
Not Drew Lister.
no, not the guy from Rocks, but there was a lister that played for us. I think he played state footy back in and played in those premierships in the early 90s. And he was famous for it. And I might have tried it, but I don't
So you're
reckon
keeping
I've
that
got enough
tradition
length.
going within the club.
Yeah. Okay, and on to this week's games, I think, gentlemen. How about that? Seems like a good idea. Firstly, we've got Athelston and CBC at Max Amber Reserve, home of Athelston. Should be a good game. This is pretty much last chance saloon, I think, for CBC. Due to their loss last week, they've dropped down to 8th, but there's still only one game outside the 5. Sitting in 5th is Athelston on 5-5, so like I said, must win. I just think Athelston at home would be too strong, but Darren Jarman is a great coach, and an upset wouldn't surprise me. What do you think, Trekkie?
Well, I would have to say Athelston. They played quite well against us. CBC probably had one of their worst games of the year against us, so I probably haven't got a good feel for where they are. I'm sure they're better than they were when they played us, but you'd have to tip Athelston at home.
Be interesting, Rocky Butterworth coaching against his old club, where he was before Prince Alfred. Know most of the players, but I think Athelston are probably playing better football than CBC at the moment, and I think Fudd will probably have a quiet day.
Paraka and Pembroke at Paraka, Lindblom Park. Can Paraka get their first win that wasn't awarded? Obviously, they've got the one against you guys that was awarded to them for the points debacle. I think Pembroke. Well, they've got to win if they want to get outside the relegation. This really is, if Pembroke don't win this, they go to Division 4 next year. It's as simple as that. They should win, and they should win well.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Pembroke will win. I think Paraka are struggling at the moment. So Pembroke, although they've pushed a few sides and they've beaten a few sides above them, so I would think that Pembroke will probably get the chocolates. What do you reckon, Shrek?
I think Pembroke will win, but Paraka deserve encouragement. I know I've been in situations at Kilburn where we've had pretty shocking seasons.
Yeah.
And Paraka are obviously going through that at the moment, but they still turn up and they give it their all every week. They're not capitulating.
Yep.
And they deserve a bit of credit for that.
And there's certainly some guys in their teams that are appearing in the best players regularly that are putting in a top effort. Josh Simmons is one. Drew Hosking, Daniel Wiles, Bradley Batten, all certainly having a dip. Mitcham and Smosh West Lakes. Smosh, real good around the clearances, fast, tall, athletic and fit. Ground out a great win against Athelston last week. Mitcham, pretty much surprise packets. Mitcham, they've had a good last 2 months, although they obviously got knocked off convincingly by you guys last week. I just think, even though it's at Mitcham, Smosh should be too strong in this one.
Yeah, without a doubt. Mitcham, I watched them last week. They're third on the Premiership table. Kilburn are down the track only because of points, but if Kilburn would probably be in their position. I think that Mitcham are lucky to be where they are at the moment. and I would think Smosh will hammer him.
I'd have to agree with that, but with one caveat. Smosh
A caveat?
A caveat.
This is the lawyer coming out.
Smosh were a very slightly built team, I think. They had a lot of skinny players, and in the wet and a boggy track at Mitcham, that might be something that could go against them, but I don't think it will, and I think they should win. They're a better team by far than Mitcham.
Yeah, I think so too.
Payneham, North Union and Salisbury, this one's at Payneham, North Union, the Fortress of Falconry. Gary McIntosh on Thursday night, he probably wouldn't be real thrilled with me repeating what he's saying, but labelled this as the most important game for the club in 3 years. So that says a lot about the way the boys should approach today's game. They cannot lose. Being 6-4, assuming Smosh do get over Mitcham, and with Kilburn hunting us down, we must win. And yeah, well,
I don't know about the 3 years, but I would say for this year, this probably is an important game for them to have a chance of getting the 5.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you don't want to just finish in the 5, mate. You want to finish in the 3 to give yourself a real, genuine chance.
But I'm saying that I think Salisbury will win.
Really? Okay. Well, I think Payneham will win.
I've tipped Payneham. I think they're a team that's underachieved so far this year. They haven't played to their potential, and I think he might be exactly right that it's the most important game because they do need to win it to keep in the 5 and keep their season going.
Yeah, there's still that logjam going on in the middle of the ladder. Now, game of the round this week is it's at Blair Athol Reserve, home of the great Dale Aegis and so many other characters.
You know, this is the 3rd game in a row they've had at home. I don't know how this draw was done this year. It's usually away home. This is the 3rd one at home.
And I believe this is the 3rd or 4th game in a row Seaton have been away. They're loving that. Kilburn and Seaton, look, mate, you've won the last 5 in a row. The form is good. Seaton, obviously, sitting 8-2. You knocked them off earlier this year, didn't you?
We did.
But then you didn't.
And then we had our points taken away. But look, Seaton is still recovering from having Luke Hosey as an assistant coach. So we should beat him by 15 today.
Yeah, that's an interesting one anyway, isn't it?
I think Kilburn will just win. It's go the line.
I don't think that's the case. I think they'll win massively over Seaton. I've seen Kilburn the last 3 weeks, and no kidding. Jamie's got the guys moving so well. It's just a half back line dropping marks a few times. Won't mention anyone's name, but they've just, the lads, the delivery from Parksy and McCallum and those guys has been fantastic. If you're a forward, you would love it. The lead out.
Yeah, love it.
The delivery is excellent. The guys will have a crack at it and they'll take the gamble. And that's the biggest thing. They're not playing real cautious football. They're taking the gamble and running with it. And last week, I watched them against Mitcham. Mitcham may as well be 6th or 7th on the table.
But in all seriousness, Seaton are probably the best team in the comp that we've played so far. Last time we played them at Kilburn, we get to play them twice at home this week, but it was in the rain. They moved the ball quite well, I thought, when we played them last time, even though it was in the wet. It's a wet day again today, and I think we'd be careful not to underestimate Seaton later on down the track if we play them in the finals on a dry day.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think we've seen their best footy in the wet, and I think that on a dry day they'll be a very different team, and they're very difficult to beat.
It'll be telling for Nick today, Nick Pearce, because there's a ruckman for Seaton, which I saw earlier on. Must be around the same size as Nick, but he's got bigger body strength. He's got red hair, and I don't know his name, but he uses his body so well, and Nick's going to have a hard job on his hands.
I've got faith in the P train. I've gone body on body with him a few times at training, and he's got a lot of whoppers stored in his guts. He looks a bit skinny, but he's a strong man, and he's very difficult to move out of the way.
Nick, good pedigree. His father won the 1980 Division 1 medal, David, and was a good footballer.
Beautiful work. Hey, look, we've got to move on because we're at Gavin Colville, I think, waiting out in the green room for Division 1. Look, it's been great having you on the show, Shrekky. Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I was told to mention that we've got the Kilburn Black and White Bowl coming up, which is our major event for the year down at the Lakes Resort. That's on the 14th of July, and that's always a cracker of a night. And apart from that, I'm reading
Stones and Morteen Group and
Morteen are fantastic. They gave me a discount on a car when I bought one there.
AG Leasy's Crane Hire and
that's right. And Shoulder Pavers, Daydream Pools, which is
It's Parksy, is it?
Yeah, that's Danny Park. So he did a wonderful job fixing my pool up.
Lawyers must get big dough. Lucy, Hosey put in the budget the other day, worst lawyer in Adelaide. I thought it was pretty unfair.
Yeah, no, you'd be right. I'm the worst lawyer in Adelaide. Don't hire me unless you want to go to jail.
What's the name of the company?
No, it's Vidaz Lawyers. My boss is Nick Vidaz.
Oh.
He's been a criminal lawyer for 40 years and does really well.
Alright, we're going to take one more quick music break. We'll be back after the break. Thanks for being on the show, Shrek. We'll be back after the break with Gavin Colwell, the coach.
Good luck today, mate.
Yes, good luck with the Henley Football Club.
Thanks, guys.